everyone. Welcome back to the Gaming Block Podcast, your number one podcast for all of the pertinent video game reviews and spoiler talks, including Resident Evil, what was the other one? Persona 4 Golden, Final Fantasy 16,
Resident
and
Evil 4
more.
Golden.
Resident Evil 4 Golden. One day we'll get that. After the remakes, I'll do the Golden versions and stuff like that. I'm your host, Andrew Ron, and today I'm joined by one half of the Bad Boys of Video Games, Roger Bennon III. True. And today we are going to discuss... Well, actually, first, Roger, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm here.
All right. We were actually just talking. Well, actually, we were talking about a lot. It's funny because in moments like that, I'm like, we should just be recording.
No, honestly, like the best thing you could do is just like sneak that record button in while I'm like talking shit about stuff.
If you go back to our older episodes, I used to do those little like intro clips because I would just hit record and then just let it record for like 20 minutes. And then I wouldn't post the whole 20-minute thing, but I'd find something funny and like throw it in there as a little teaser.
That's the best
like that.
The cold open or whatever.
Yeah, cold open. Maybe I'll go back to that or something like that.
But how fucking hot outside it is and how much
it's so hot. We're from the Midwest. Actually, I think it's hot everywhere. I think I was reading actually that like hottest June on record since we've started recording in some places.
It's probably, it's July now. Is it?
I think it was in England. Actually, I think it was in England.
It's the later half of June that hit really bad. I feel like the first half of June wasn't too bad.
No, it's fine. It felt like spring actually for a while, which I guess technically it was spring. But
that last half of June to now is sucking ass.
Yeah, and it's still hot out.
Swamp water, as certain generations would say.
We don't get much rain out here. Though they say that it's going to rain a lot, but we haven't got much rain. And then also it's the holiday season, which just makes our jobs.
I don't know about you, but like I'll look at my like weather app, and like every day it'll say for like a week it was supposed to rain, and it just never fucking does.
It never does.
So I don't know how they're getting it that wrong, but
this is we're going to talk about Resident Evil 4 in a second, but I have to bring this up because I'll check the weather, and I love the rain. If it would rain. I think Washington and Oregon are kind of like my picture perfect climate. Yeah. Where if it would rain for 30 minutes or an hour every single day, that'd be perfect for me. I'd be like, that's all I really want in life. Alas, I don't live up there. I live in Kansas instead. And I'm moving. Actually, where I'm moving to, it does rain more because if you look at it's super nerdy, but if you look at like weather patterns and stuff, there's a hard cutoff. And actually the hard cutoff lines up with like metropolitan areas, Kansas City, Tulsa, Dallas, Boise, and things like that. Or not Boise, that's in Idaho. What's in South Dakota?
Dude, I don't know what the fuck's in South Dakota.
It's popping up in my mind. Omaha. All those cities, they make a straight line, and that's because of the precipitation. It just kind of like dies because of the mountains and shit like that.
Generally speaking, colder or warmer where you're going? Do you know?
It should be more mild because we're going to be close to the mountains. I'm moving to North Carolina, so we're going to have that ocean.
I assumed it'll be less extreme than it is here, no matter where you go. But
yeah, the Midwest is pretty extreme for winters and summers and tornadoes. Might have to worry about the occasional hurricane or two, but we're going to be inland enough. We're moving to Raleigh, so it's like. It's a big city. It's not New Orleans, where it's legitimately underwater. So we should be fine. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Oh, we got an alarm on our phone. We were going out to dinner and we're like, hey, you want to go out? And we go out sometimes. We've just been really busy lately. Married, moving, all that fucking shit.
How to justify that? We go out. Like that is the thing.
We go out. And we're finally. This was one of these nights. I'm gonna say finally, but like been a week or something. So we went out. Like, you want to go out to dinner? And she was like, yeah. So we got all dressed and stuff like that. I put my watch on, nice rose gold watch. The Fossil.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, fancy. Yeah. And as I smack my camera, that wasn't an earthquake. As we were walking out the door, my phone or my watch actually starts going. I was like, what the fuck is this? And I look at it, and it's like extreme weather alert. Gusts up to 80 miles per hour, extreme thunderstorms, stay inside, seek shelter for the next hour. And I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
Right as you're planning to go out.
Right as we were going out. And I did the thing. We did the Midwestern thing where we walked outside. We looked one way. We're like, yeah, it looks like storm's over there. And then we looked the other way. We're like, yeah, we'll probably be fine.
Yeah, we'll make it. I was going to say. And the most Midwestern you can do is just be like, yeah, we'll be fine.
And you know what? maybe fucking sprinkled. Maybe.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Dude, I
Not a
don't.
fucking thing.
People still talk shit on us for ignoring it, but it's 95% of the time it's worth
Doesn't
ignoring.
happen. Nothing happens. I think it's different. And maybe it's a population thing. Maybe the weather men, women, whoever you want to call them, they're better over there because, like, we got millions of people over here. We got to get this right. But over here in Kansas, they're like, oh, fuck, what, 1,000 people get upset? Who the fuck cares?
Yeah, dude, they don't give a shit.
Half of them don't even have internet and aren't even seeing this. So, like, who cares? Oh, yeah, it might rain. It might not. I don't know. Fucking look out your window.
As long as we're within, like, a 50-degree range, we'll be fine.
Right? Bring an umbrella just in case. You never know. Anyways, I have no idea how we got started with this at all.
Resident Evil 4, it all
Resident Evil 4.
I think
we're here to talk about
conclusion.
Yeah. We're here to talk about Resident Evil 4 Remake. I'm going to spoil the shit out of it, so you've been warned. We're going to talk about everything. Roger will probably talk about more because we both beat it.
Well, you've beat it more recently than I have. But
it's true.
But I have 100% of it, so.
Yeah. I get Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, you fucking Xboxers.
I know.
I can't even say you platinumed it. You just, you got all the achievements, I guess.
It's kind of weird because, like, I've been, like, collecting all the Resident Evil games on my Xbox, and that was, like, the main reason why I got it on Xbox.
No, I get that. That's why, honestly, I get it on PlayStation because I just have them all there. So I'm like, I might as well keep going here. Yeah, I did not do that simply because there's too many games to play, and I was like, I can't. Dedicate more time to this game, even though I really wanted to. It was one of those things where the game ended and I was like, I want to start New Game Plus right now, but I can't. No, but maybe one day.
I don't blame you. Going for all the achievements and the challenges was
it's difficult.
It took a lot out of me, man. It really did.
Yeah. The way I want to start this though is I want to have some context to someone's calling me from Virginia.
Oh,
it's interesting. Should I answer it?
Sure, why not?
Sure. Hello? All right. Well, that was a colossal.
If anything dramatic happens, we can always cut it out. But
colossal waste of time. Block. Report as spam. Might have been something important, but
no. If they didn't respond, if that was like just a nothing, you might want to block them because sometimes they'll do that just
to put you on the list
if it's an active line.
Yep.
And then and then they'll start selling
exactly. Yep. Which, going back to the whole I'm moving thing. So I'm like, it's on the East Coast. Maybe it's something with work. I don't know. Anyways,
it's in the
States. I wanted to start. It's in the real United States. Thank you. Anything east of the Mississippi, real, and then you start getting to some hazy territory. The Republic of California, the Republic of Texas, and we don't fucking need this. Okay, the Louisiana used to be this huge fucking thing. Whatever. Way off topic. We're gonna talk about our knowledge and our experience with Resident Evil as a series. I think that's a good place to start, and then we will
give some context.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll talk about the games we played, what our favorite one is possibly, and then I want to kind of compare and contrast because I'm willing to bet that you've beaten the original RE4 quite a few times.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I have too. It's actually one of my favorite games. Asterisk. But then we can start kind of comparing and contrasting those, and then we can talk about the remake itself and analyze it what it is itself. And then also I kind of want to talk about this resurgence of survival horror that we've seen with other games like Callisto Protocol, and
even with Callisto Protocol being like, I know some people consider it a bit of a
kind of mid.
Survival horror is like it's been doing really well.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of what it is. But starting off first, are you or are you not a fake fan of Resident Evil? And if you are, prove it.
Okay, well, I'm not as hardcore a fan as some people are.
I don't fucking believe you.
But
you 100%ed Resident Evil 4 Remake.
Yeah.
That's not what casual does.
I know, but I 100%ed the Resident Evil 4 when it got ported over to Xbox, so I kind of wanted to just I was like, oh, that's I did it for that game. But it was 12 times worse for the remake.
I don't even think you had to beat it twice for the original. I think you just
you did. You got all the achievements in one playthrough, and then you could replay. And there was one achievement for doing it on professional. However, professional on the original was a lot different than professional on the remake, and I mean a
Gotcha.
lot different, and we can go into that later.
These two games are actually pretty different when you start really looking at them.
When you get into the nitty gritty of it, yeah, they got like the general vibe of it pretty well down. But if you get into like the actual like certain mechanics and stuff, there can be some major changes.
Definitely.
But no, dude, I'm trying to think of where I started because I started pretty late. I was always like intrigued from afar. But the only one, I think I started with it was either 4. I think I started with 4, but I never beat it, and then I went back later and beat it, and then 5, and then I skipped 6, and I still have yet to go back to 6. But 7 is I think when I like, oh, dude, this is fucking sick.
That's where it's like, I like this series.
I went back and I played the first one. I played 0. I played the remake of 2, the remake of 3. I played a little bit of the original 2, not all the way through, but I played a little bit of the original 2 on I think the GameCube was what it was.
I think they did port them to the GameCube. Yeah,
I think that's what I played it on. So,
well, I think they ported 2 and 3, the PS1 games, to the GameCube, if I recall. Maybe. But 1 only had that remake. I don't know if they ported the director's cut.
Because I don't have the first one on PlayStation 1, but I've seen a playthrough of it, so I kind of know a little bit about it.
Yeah,
but the remake of 1 is really good.
Yeah,
that was the one on GameCube. Maybe I got it mixed up because that was the one on GameCube.
It's so good that they've never remade it again. They're like,
I know it is really good. So I've played 1 in because there's like so many versions, right? I have played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not 6, 7, and 8, and 0. And the only one I haven't like I think beaten was 0. I never finished it. So like I said, I'm a fan. I don't know, like I know some people like have played every version, every game.
Yeah, they own like all the shit and stuff like that, and it's like we're not that level of Resident Evil fan.
And I haven't played like Nemesis. I haven't really played the original of 2. I played the remakes, so
yeah. No, that's totally fair. You've definitely played more than me.
Really?
At least beat more, yeah. So I think I'm kind of in a similar camp of, before 2000 and I want to say like 10. I only played Nintendo games, just because that's what I had. Yeah. And then like we had a PS2, but that was, I think we played like NCAA on there and like Call of Duty. Dude, that was about it.
I played FIFA, so like you're still doing better than me.
But then it was like those high school years is when I really started like branching out, opening up, and that's why I started watching E3 and shit like that. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna play video games for real. I played like Mass Effect and shit like that. And I was like, oh my god, BioShock, and I was like, these are video games.
And then peak, good lord.
Yeah, and then I was like, okay, Google best video games ever made. Oh, Resident Evil 4, let's play it. And yeah, I can't remember what I played it originally on. I fucking own it on everything.
So yeah, same here. So that's why like when I think back to the original Resident Evil 4, I think I like jumble some of the memories together.
Yeah, definitely. But I'd like to think I started with that one, and I definitely remember 6 coming out, and I remember playing 6, and for whatever reason, maybe it was my inexperience as a gamer, maybe it was my age, but I didn't really like 5. I didn't think it was because it was more centered at co-op.
Well, and I'll say this, I when I first tried 5, dude, I could not get into it. Like I was not digging it at all. And then when I tried it again later, I think it was with a friend, and like my experience just went so much higher.
Yeah, so I didn't get far. I think I only got through like the opening where you're at that little market or whatever, and you got to fight all the hordes.
Their version
which is
of
cool.
the village.
Yeah, and it was really cool. And I think even like having that context of like, oh, this is like Resident Evil 4 and the village and stuff, it kind of makes it a better game in a way.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, it's kind of just like Resident Evil 4 in Africa, but co-op.
Yeah, which makes sense. That's the natural evolution of the series. But then with 6, I think it's split into 3 campaigns, and I beat the Leon campaign. Because I was like, oh, I know him from Resident Evil 4, and it was actually really fun. I enjoyed that one a lot. I didn't really know what was happening, but I played it. And then I think there's like an Ada campaign. I got like halfway through, and then I just stopped.
Yeah,
and
I think that's the issue with Resident Evil 6 is they try to make a campaign for everybody, but that kind of just made nobody happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They tried to,
and then please nobody.
It's a little too much. I'm interested to see if they ever remake that, which we'll talk about that too. I want to ask you like future remakes. But then 7 came out, and I played and beat 7, and then 8, and then all these remakes were coming out too, which they're fantastic, and I beat
They're very much
Remake.
the bar for remakes. The only
Yeah,
competitor is like Blue
Final
Point.
Fantasy,
Well,
or yeah,
maybe.
Blue Point too. That's fair.
But yeah, but I don't even like comparing them because Blue Point's like very faithful remakes, and Resident Evil is like, how do we make the original but put it in today's settings, but and
Yeah,
make it better?
we're gonna modernize it. Yeah, and that's definitely what they do. I think they botched threes a little bit.
They did, but
Because
as somebody that never really played 3, I still really liked it, like a
I
lot.
so
But I do
I beat
know
the
about what they've
remakes.
done to it.
Yeah, I have played the original PS1 versions of the director's cut of 1, 2, and 3 because those were all PS1 classics on the Vita, and this was the point where I was just playing a lot of PlayStation 1 games. I didn't beat any of them, but I think one I got like halfway through, saw the iconic Jill sandwich thing and shit like that. I
Yeah.
was just kind of one of those playthroughs. I was just like, I just want to know, like, I want to see some of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it's at the beginning, like the dog jumping out, and like, of course, when you
I
first
think
encounter zombie stuff.
one's like color palette throws me off. I have a hard time going back and looking at that game.
Yeah, like the original PS1 version.
Yeah, the original
Yeah.
PS1.
And then
But I'm
3,
biased 'cause the remake's so good.
I got a decent way through 3, and that's when I played the remake of 3. It was kind of jarring because I was like, I remember the beginning of 3 very well for the PS1,
Yeah.
and the beginning of remake 3 is not. It
Not
kind
that
of
at all.
is, but it's not really. There's some like little things here and there, but anyways, never beat 0. I got a very good way through Code Veronica. Like I think I almost got to the end of that game.
Oh yeah, see, and I keep forgetting about Code Veronica.
And that's the one I want them to remake because
Same. I was gonna say when we get to the remakes, that's the one I want the most to be remade.
Yeah, I like it a lot, and I don't know why I didn't beat it. I do that a lot actually, where I'll play a game and I get really close to the end, and then I'll just stop and get distracted, and then I don't go back because I forget or I'm like, I don't know.
Well, and then you get to a certain point where you don't you have to start over, right? Because it's been so long since you played it. But then you don't want to start over and reset all that progress, so you're just stuck in this limbo.
Especially when it's like an 8-hour game and you've played 6 hours of it. I'm like, fucking, I don't want to do this.
I've done that on a lot of like repeated playthroughs, just Resident Evil games. I'll get like 2/3 of the way on like a second or third playthrough, and then I'll just stop for whatever reason, and then never come back to it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's kind of my experience with Resident Evil. I'm a casual fan of it for sure.
I would say,
especially these newer games. Though I'm really, I fuck with them. I'm like,
dude,
these are good.
Honestly, like even with 3 being in there, which I know people kind of consider a sneaker, ever since 7, I don't feel like they've missed. Like I feel like they've been putting out solid game after solid game.
I think 3, its only issue, if you have an issue with it, is that they cut things out, which they've admitted that they cut things out, and I mean, Resident Evil games are short, but 3's pretty fucking short.
It is pretty short, but it also, like, for me is like that makes it a really fun like action romp. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then
no, absolutely.
And like the challenge runs in it is kind of more enjoyable because it's so short for me. However, I didn't spend $60 on it, so if you spend $60 on it, I can understand being a little.
I got the collector's edition of it because I wanted that Jill statue, and as someone who spent $200,
I think that's my favorite. Like Jill is the remake Resident Evil 3.
Yeah, no, totally. I like her design a lot. I also like Leon's design, and I think I like his 2 design and remake more than any other incarnation. Although his 6 design is really good. They were really making him out to be that like kind of K-pop looking hair.
Oh, dude, very much so. I think too they did a good job at making it like not as like still a little boy band, but not as like it could a little bit more normal. But
yeah, it's his first day. He's not all there yet.
Yeah.
So, anyways, all that leads us up to Resident Evil 4 Remake, which is a remake, I would argue, before this game came out or was even announced, was one that we kind of questioned if it would even happen because it made sense to remake 2 and 3. Those were PlayStation 1 games.
It did.
The transfer, the leap between PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 was massive. We went from polygons that kind of resembled the face to, Metal Gear Solid 2. And Resident Evil 4, where it's like, oh my god, this looks good, and even
the
today
way
it looks good.
They remade it by making it third person, but still keeping somehow the essence of the fixed perspective.
Yeah, because they also modernized it with controls and stuff too. Where it was those classic fixed camera angles.
It really allowed you to get a good experience of it by today's standards. Because some people like they just can't go back to those older fixed camera perspective, tank controls. Like it's just too much.
You got to get in that mindset, You
do.
really do have to get in that mindset.
And like I love like the first one, but like you do have to enter that mindset. So,
but I guess I'm trying to think like how do we dissect this? Because well, I guess that's our knowledge of the games.
Yeah,
Let's
that's like
kind
our
of focus
backstory
on
with the franchise.
Yeah, and where I was leading to was like we didn't know that 4 was going to get remade, but now that it has been remade, I think the floodgates are open. It's like okay, remake 5, remake 6, do Code Veronica.
Yeah,
Just
what
do
I
it
would
all.
like to do is because the way I kind of perceive this is if you look at like Resident Evil 2, right? It's like they kind of leaned more into 4 being like a sequel to 2, right? Where like before it, I mean, it
Yeah,
obviously was, but it was like it was and it wasn't. And in this one, it's like there's like a lot of things that directly reference specifically the remake of Resident Evil 2.
yeah,
And what I would like to see is a remake of Code Veronica. So you have this be kind of like Leon's second
sequel.
chapter, and then
Yeah,
Code Veronica is more like Claire's sequel. And I
yeah,
would like to see
absolutely.
those two things.
No, no,
But they
I would
might
love
just do
that.
5, dude. Maybe it's like who the fuck knows.
Yeah, Code Veronica is weird because it was originally a Dreamcast game that got ported to GameCube, I think, or no, definitely PlayStation 2. I don't think it actually came out on GameCube. Um, but then it's been released on like Xbox and PlayStation 4 as a classic and all that stuff. But that's neither here nor there. So that's our history, and that's all that context and things like that. I don't even know if I asked you this, but how'd you like the game? Did you like Remake?
Okay, so yeah, just general thoughts. I
Yeah,
obviously, I mean, I don't 100% games I don't like, right? So like,
I mean that's fair. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean
yeah, I was,
I can't say the same thing. I have some dirty platinums,
yeah,
Taco Master and things like that. But
the
for the most part, I
man.
100% games I only like. Um, yeah,
But no,
love it.
I really like this game. There's like very few things about it that I dislike, and I think just overall it's really good. It's a really good remake. Like I still like the original Resident Evil 4, and this
Mm-hmm.
one is, but this one is just like, how do you feel about it?
No, I also really like this game. I think it's kind of hard, and maybe it's because of the year that we're in, where it's just like I'm gonna have to finish 2023, and then I'm gonna have to marinate on every game that came out for like a year, and
See,
then I'll tell you my actual thoughts on like how I feel about every game. But for right now, playing Resident Evil 4 Remake, I mean, like I said at the beginning, I wanted to play it again right away. I was like, let's do that new game plus. I
so that's
didn't.
the other thing is we're going from game to game to game to game. So even like me, who I finished it a few months ago, you know, I don't feel like I've had time. I've sat down and thought on it, obviously a little
Yeah.
bit, but I'm always like switching to the next game.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess here's a good comparison. I did start the Dead Space remake, and
That's another one.
I
Fuck,
got
that's
like
another one.
2 hours in, and I stopped, and I kind of the only reason I want to go back is to beat it, if that makes sense.
Have
You
you
know,
played the original Dead Space?
I have.
Okay,
I
see,
played the original Dead Space and 2 and 3,
I have not. I own all of them. Haven't played
and
them.
I've never beaten any of them. I don't know why, but there's just something about those games where they just don't jive with me,
Yeah.
which is a controversial take because I know people love Dead Space, but I just something about it wasn't there. But with Remake, and I think it was to my what do you want to call it? My deep knowledge of Resident Evil 4 kept me going to where it's like, okay, I want to see how do they do the castle? How did they do the lake?
Yeah.
How did they
You
do
want to see how they handle, because they handled,
Salzar and stuff? Yeah.
even with them cutting shit in Resident Evil 3, I feel like the stuff they remade was still like handled pretty well. Like there's like a lot of
Yeah.
detail and stuff into it. So yeah, you want to see. It's just like it's such a good original game, and like they've done so good with the remakes. You just want to see how they handle it.
No, definitely. And what I really like about this remake actually, or not actually, I mean, what I really like about this remake, in addition to just the inherent gameplay improvements and graphic improvements and things like that, is that they do go deeper in those stories. Like when I played Resident Evil 4, granted I didn't have context, and I know there's some games like what do you call them? The Wii shooters, rail shooters.
Oh yeah, there's
Those
something
add
something
context of like
Chronicles or whatever.
Umbrella Chronicles, I think.
Yeah.
Uh, those add context to like Krauser and things like that. But in RE4, when I fought Krauser, I had no idea who the fuck
Oh,
this guy
same.
was.
See, when
I
I
was just
did
like,
it,
this is just a
I
guy.
hadn't played the first 3, so I just assumed this is somebody I'm supposed to know, but I don't because I didn't play the first 3.
Yeah.
So then when I finally like got around to playing the other ones and then replayed 4, I was like, oh yeah, you just don't know who this is.
Yeah, he's just a guy that pops up and there's like he
he
has
just comes
some
out of nowhere.
history. But then in Remake, they go through this whole thing of like he was Leon's like special ops trainer or whatever, like his general or
So
something.
in the remake, right? First of all, they actually show him in the very beginning of the game, which helps, and they show him in like
Yeah.
cutscenes and flashbacks, and then they gave him more of a what's the word, like
Origin story.
well, not even origin story. Like he has more to do in the plot in the story than
Yeah,
he
he's
kind
the
of
one
did
that
in the
kidnaps
original.
Ashley.
He's the
Or
one
it's
that
because of
kidnaps
him.
Ashley, and he's the
Yeah.
one that kills Luis. He didn't in the original.
Yeah.
So like that gives him more like he's a more threat, more antagonist, just with like files and stuff, which is a little cheap, but I feel like even without the files, they still did a pretty decent job of like incorporating him into the narrative.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
like it's like if there was an issue with the original, such as like maybe the character of Luis or with Krauser coming out of nowhere, like you felt like they kind of addressed
They
it.
fix that. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Because even with Luis, he was such a more prominent character, and I felt more
Well, he
kind of
was
like,
just cool. Yeah.
yeah, I felt more connected to him,
You were so
and
much more attached to him in Remake.
yeah. So and so when he does eventually die, which I wasn't expect, it was one of those things like, okay, I know it's going to happen. I am kind of expecting this, but when it happens, it kind of threw me off guard a little bit. I was
Well,
like, oh damn, he
this
just
is
got a knife to
why
the back.
because they kept the shit in the remake, but they switched stuff around. So like he was never with you in the minecart in the originals. So
Yeah.
when he's with you in the minecarts, because he wasn't the original, you're just kind of like not really like thinking about like is his death coming up or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think
No,
that's
totally.
like why some of it will kind of like even though you know the game, it will still kind of come from nowhere. But
Mm-hmm.
no, if you haven't played Resident Evil 4, like the remake, totally, dude. It's totally worth a playthrough. It's I really enjoyed it.
No, me too, for sure. I do want to, the inherent nature of these spoiler casts, all two of them now that we've done, is just kind
Yeah.
of ping ponging around and kind of like going with our thoughts and ideas and things like that. And there is one thing I want to address because I know this was kind of controversial actually, when the
Can't
game
look up
released.
Ashley's skirt. Yeah, it was pretty
So
let
it does
down.
have to do with sexualizing Ashley. Yes. uh, playing the original Resident Evil 4, I think there's even an achievement and trophy tied to looking up her skirt.
Yeah, there's
Um,
something. There's something tied to it. I
which
just know she
is
gives you unique dialogue if you do it.
so
Oh
2006,
yeah,
2008. It's just like, of course there is.
uh-huh.
Of course there is. But in 2023, not only is that like the industry has matured, but like I myself am just like, we don't need that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
In a
just
game like this,
we're not 13-year-old boys, like that shit just
yeah.
it's not as funny.
If I'm buying Dead or Alive Extreme beach volleyball, sure. That's
Yeah.
why you're buying the game. That's the point of it. When I'm buying Resident Evil, that's not the fucking point. Why is that in my Resident Evil game?
Dude, it's so hard going back to like older anime and stuff because sometimes they'll
Oh
just
my
have the
God.
random like shots, like you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, the
And it
fan
just
service. That's what it's called. There's just fan
it's
service.
just like I can't. High School of the Dead, I'm sorry, is a bad show.
Terrible show. But I really like, and a lot of people took umbrage with this because don't censor and all that shit. The anti PC wars, or
It's okay.
I
They
don't know
kept
what
her
it is.
model, her boob physics in the model, so like you
Yeah.
win some, you lose some.
But when Luis originally meets Ashley, he's very misogynistic to her in the original game, and makes comments about her breasts and things like that.
Yeah, he was very much a womanizer, or at least that was like the attitude you were supposed to get from him.
Which I think was the point of his character, because he kind of comes off with this kind of like arrogance of like a douchebag,
I mean,
like this is how he treats.
He was basically just a stereotype in the original game.
Yeah. But in this one, I think he does make a couple comments to Ashley, but none of them were sexual in origin.
None of them were like
that.
super. Yeah, not that I can think of. And also, like you just like it feels more like it's like a facade he's putting up when he's like really like kind of like bothered, like deep down.
Yeah,
like, they just do a better job with Luis's character. And like, yeah, if we want to get into it, like just like how he is, like how they made him part of the team, how he interacts with you, how he like you go with him on certain sections. You can even take him into the shooting room.
Yeah, the shooting gallery.
Which is like such a nice touch. But like I'm trying to think of like how they handled his character, because they did like a lot of subtle changes where it's like he's talking a big game, but like you kind of understand like underneath he's like scared and frightened, and it has that cutscene with Ada where he's like really wanting to get out. You see it in some of the notes and stuff, but it's like it's very much like he's a man of regret. It's also like kind of frightened. He definitely puts on this this air about him, and when he dies, you know, I don't know. It was a lot more emotional than it ever was in the original one. The fact that Krauser killed him, I think, is a really good touch.
No, yeah. I don't even remember how he dies. And I know he dies in the original.
Just stabbed him out of nowhere and then fucked
off.
You're
right. That's right. He just stabs through him, and like it's fucking graphic too. It's visceral, you know. It's
he basically explodes his chest. Yeah.
That's right. But he was such a forgettable character in the forgettable in a way of like he's very one note.
He's like more of a plot device in the first game.
Yeah. You need him to get the key.
Well, and in this game, I like that you carry the game, and then they make you use his key in the final section to get into the lab. And if you look around in the lab, you can see that he was part of the medical team. I think the medical team that made Nemesis, by the way. I think it was the same division.
Same division that did that.
So like, and you see his emails of him trying to get the fuck out. And then even in the village, you can see like what he was like, life was kind of like for him as a kid. I don't know if it says the boy in some of the notes were Lewis, but it's like hinted at that.
Oh, was he the boy? Because I remember reading that
the grandfather in the notes in the village. Yeah.
Okay.
Like there's a lot of stuff hinted at.
Yeah, because going through all those village notes and stuff, there was this whole arc with like this child, and you found it in like a basement or something. Actually, I think it's where he's tied up in the basement.
It was either that or the cellar. I can't remember.
I don't remember.
Maybe it was in both. I'm not sure because they spread some.
But they had a whole bunch of those notes in the village and stuff like that. And there's an interesting storyline.
This is like one of the games where like this and Village, I was both like really like invested in the notes, or like I just wanted more.
Well, especially because talking about stronger character impacts and things like that. I really feel like they and this is where also I want to go back and play the original again, because maybe I just missed all this shit. It's totally possible. I was a teenager when I played it, and I played it also recently, but I don't like you look at all those little details now. I just play it because I'm like, I know what the fuck I'm doing. It's Resident Evil 4. I don't need to look at all this shit.
Yeah.
But I really like that in this game. It felt like the village itself was a character, because you get to see so much backstory about
all three of them. Feel like a character. The village, like the castle, and the
yeah. Because they talk about like what the people were like, and like how this just kind of happened in this what was his name? It's not Salazar, but it's the other guy.
Are you talking about the big cheese, the mayor?
Yeah, the big cheese. But how he came in and he just started like he had this cult and things like that, and then they started infecting people, and how it was ruining life for everyone. It's like at the end, all these villagers that you just
for them.
Yeah, you're just massacring them and stuff because they're trying to kill you. But then you're like, oh, they're just people. There's just a little Spanish village that they fucked up. And you're like, well, now I kind of feel really bad. There are no heroes. It's classic Star Wars. Episode 3, there are heroes on both sides. There are no heroes on either side.
I would say I keep mixing up because there's Sadler and Salazar, right? I keep mixing those two up. The guy in the castle.
Was Salazar the main dude that turns into the final?
I think Salazar is the main dude, and I'm trying to the little guy in the castle. Who's the main guy of the castle?
You know what? RE4. Okay, this is how much we remember this game is.
Well, those two specifically, I always mix up their names. That's just a me problem.
Yeah. So
I did it back in the day as well.
Wesker. It's the first one that pops up.
Oh,
which he is in this game. And what's really funny too. By the way, the Mendez, that was the mayor,
right?
But it's Mendez. Salazar is the little Napoleon-like guy, which he wasn't really like Napoleon-esque in this game, like he was in the original. He was like a little Napoleon in the first one, but
I think out of like the antagonist, he was like, I think I prefer the original more when it came to him.
Me too.
But I can't even like define what it is about the original I like. There's something about him where like it all fits together to create this just weird monstrosity, beautiful mess.
I can tell you, because there's something, and this is why I think Resident Evil 4 specifically, kind of like with Final Fantasy 7, where the remake doesn't replace the original. It's two games that can coexist, and they're different enough to where they both have their qualities, so where you can enjoy these games forever.
Yeah.
You know, I can totally be in a mood to play 4 remake or 4 original, where I'm probably never going to go play Resident Evil 2 or 3 on PS1 because
I'm curious about that statement because I kind of agree with you, but I agree with you from the perspective that we've played the original and then have played the remake. I'm curious.
That's true.
If you played the remake, if you can go back and play the original.
That's true. That's true. But I was going to say, I really like that Salazar, my bad. In the original, all those 1-to-1 moments that you have on the little radio, I think those really flesh his character out, because you miss out on those in this game.
Also, like, he just like throws little temper tantrums and stuff.
It's so good. It's so good. But I was gonna say Wesker shows up at the end of this game, which I think he did not in the original, because Ada's there in both games. In the original, it's still this thing of like, what the fuck's going on? Mm-hmm. We don't know what she's doing. And there's a whole Ada Wong section. Actually, I think they do show Wesker if you play the Ada section of the game that unlocks after you beat it. But in this one, they don't have that at all. And it's shown that Ada's there working for Wesker, who is from the original. And if you don't know Resident Evil lore, it is the most fucking... There's a reason 6 is the way it is. It turns into like the Resident Evil movies of fucking wackiness.
That's why it's like, it's also like kind of jarring where like 2, 3, and 4, and 3 and 4 less so, but like they went more of a more modern, realistic approach. Yeah. And then you throw Wesker in there and that all goes out the fucking window.
Right. Like, and I do think that this is the first time that Wesker's been shown in the remakes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
If you've only played new Resident Evil, let's say you started at 7 when it got modernized and then you've played it since then, you're probably going, who the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Who's this guy in the chair?
Because he's in 1, Code Veronica, and 5, right? Like those are the ones he's in.
Yeah, and 6.
And 6. But like what I'm saying is like they haven't touched him. Like they've done every game except those games.
Yes. He's not.
I don't know. How would you feel about a remake of 1 in this style? Because I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, I think it's like you were just saying, where, we have the perspective of playing 4 first and then playing remake.
Yeah.
Are people who've played 2, 3, and 4 remake able to go back to that 1 that was on GameCube? Because it's good. It's fantastic.
It's really good.
It still plays like classic Resident Evil.
It does, yeah.
So maybe it is time to...
But if they remake it, I don't know if you could justify a whole... Like, maybe if you did it for like $20, but I couldn't justify a whole game around that.
I think you'd have to do 0 and 1 together, because you think 3 is short. If you remake 1, it takes place in one building. It's like it's not that big of a game.
It's literally one building.
And that's probably why they haven't remade it either, because with 2 and 3 and 4 especially, you can see like how you can really expand it and like get more of it. And we saw the backlash with 3, because at least 2 had the 2 separate like sides and stuff. You play as Claire or Leon, and then 3 was just kind of a short campaign. And not everyone, and justified or not, there were people upset about it, like, oh, it's too short and things like that. So yeah, if you did,
I think there's something to be said for the main criticism being the game's too short. They're not saying the game's bad. They're saying
there's too short.
More of it.
Yeah, which I think is fair. I wanted more of 3 too. Just because it's so good.
Definitely, like, I wouldn't say no.
But
that's the thing about this game. Honestly, this game's longer than the original Resident Evil 4 remake.
Yeah,
because they have so much extra stuff.
Yeah. How'd you feel about all that extra stuff? Like, I feel like the part where you fall into the pit and you're in the cave and stuff, that was new. And then like the part, I think it was new. I don't think that was in the original.
Remind me which part you're talking about.
I'm talking about so when you get into the castle and then Ashley gets kidnapped again, and they put you on like this sacrifice table, and it's when they make her drink the black goo when they infect you first, and then you drop you down.
The black goo, that shit's new, but you do fall down, because in the original that's when Leon grapples up and then shoots him and like
you're right.
Piece.
He's like,
kill him.
God, that's what this game is missing. It's all that fucking early 2000s and Matrix.
It's got some of it, and there's like some shit. Like, I'll quote 90 Nights still, like to this day, like I say to this day, like it's a 2-month-old game, but
hey, we're 3 months now. Okay,
the
actually,
thing
I think it
is,
came out in March.
it's hard to but I understand why like it's hard to remember because what they do is they change the order of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And just from like the village alone, certain ways you go through the village, it's like almost like backwards depending on
Yeah.
certain sections. So you're going through the level backwards. I think when I first realized that was the first open section where after you get the hunting rifle, you go through that
Yeah.
entire area backwards from how you did in the original.
That
And
also
then
kind of blocked some places off
they
too
do, yeah.
temporarily, and that threw me off. I was like,
I think they added some stuff underground though with like the minecart and stuff. I think there's some new
mm-hmm.
areas there. And then dude, I don't remember. Here's the thing: I don't remember the island all that well in the original.
Yeah, I don't either. I think it's such a last part thing that you're just kind of like.
And
Because
here's
the most memorable part about this game is the first.
Its own thing in the remake.
Yeah, it's its own. Because when I was beating this game, I was like, "Oh, I'm on the island. I'm almost done." And there's like 3 more chapters. I was like, "What the fuck? This is still going." My favorite addition to this game, though, and I got really giddy when this happened, was, and if this is in the original, I have a complete memory wipe of it. Complete memory wipe.
All right, let's hear it.
But when you're in the castle and Leon gets locked up, and then you play as Ashley, was that in the original?
There was a section where you played as Ashley in the original, but it was not. It was a different. It wasn't like that. It wasn't.
No.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
What happens is in the original you play as Ashley, but all you do is you go into like this room, and there are knights, but it's just quick time events where you just hit A and X to dodge them.
You're right.
And then you get the fuck out of there.
But
it's like it's like a 2 to 3 minute deal at most.
Yeah.
But this is like actually its own.
This was like
section.
If you want to, it could be like an hour of playing as her.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, because there's treasure to fucking find.
Mm-hmm.
You can get a fucking gun if you're really careful about it. Not as her, but you can unlock it for Leon.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that part.
Yeah, that part was really cool. And here's a cool thing: the codes stay the same. So on repeat playthroughs, you can like put it in. However, it's different on professional. They changed it in professional difficulty.
Of course,
yeah.
Of course. That's how you arbitrarily make games harder.
That was fun.
No, but I've really enjoyed, because this game is quite frightening at some moments. Unlike the original RE4, which I don't think I was scared once. Not a single time. I think
there was like some parts where I was tense, and I think that's what this game does really well. This game does like tension and I don't know, just being stressed really well.
Yeah. But like the parts that I personally got a little shaky in my boots, were that part when you're playing as Ashley.
Yeah, that part was really good. That part, and when you have to put up the lantern, because like your tool for surviving against these knights is this lantern, which freezes them in place. And then you get to a section where you have to put it on a pedestal, and it's taken away from you. But then all the fucking knights start like bum rushing you, and you have to get back out without the only source of protection you have. Yeah. Oh my god, dude, that was so good.
It's terrifying. But that part, the part when you are in the castle beginning or originally, and then you're going against the Death Knights, like that part kind of creeps me out a little bit. I was like, it's a little scary because it's all dark and stuff. And then legitimately terrified. And part of it was because I didn't really understand how to solve the puzzle right away. When you get to the lab after on the island where Ashley is knocked out, you have to go get a key card and upgrade the key card.
Yes.
And those reanimators, dude.
I am so glad they did that justice, because that was like the best part about the island in the original, and they did it so well.
I didn't know what to do, so I was literally like turning the power off completely, which meant I was in the fucking complete dark.
Yeah,
and these fucking horrific things that don't die.
I know.
And I also,
the way they move too, like they did such a good job with their animations.
It's terrible.
It's like they're just not right. Like they're just not moving correctly.
It's definitely not human, but it's not natural. Like I've never seen any creature move the way that these fucking abominations move. And the way to defeat them, which I remember from the original, is that you have to get the thermite. Yeah. Or not the thermite, thermal scope.
Thermite would be nice, I'm sure.
I bet you thermite would fucking blow their asses up. But you get the thermal scope, and then they have like these little areas that you got to shoot. Mm-hmm. And a part of that is that you got to get a hammer that one of them swallowed. No, screwdriver.
Yeah.
That one of them swallowed.
Wrench, yeah.
Yeah, wrench. It's fucking. I don't know. I don't work in a fucking garage.
You're fine.
Um, you got to get one of those, and I'm not exaggerating when I said I almost soft locked myself because the way I
Dude,
was saving, I just save over the
I want
same
to
file.
know when you did that and you used the wrench. Well, I'll let you finish your story, I guess, but I want to know how that room went for you because I
It
freaked
went.
myself up in that very room.
It went terribly because I had like 9 rifle bullets going in, but
Mm-hmm.
then I was like, oh, okay, I have to get this wrench. What do I do for that? Well, one of them swallowed it. I don't know what I was thinking. But for some reason, when I went, well, those other guys were back there. So I ran back. But first, just for shits and giggles, I guess, I knifed every single one of the containment units. So all 4 of them flopped out at once.
Oh my god, that's
And then I
actually
ran out.
wow.
And then I killed those other
You just
guys.
trying
I'm
to
like,
get like a
okay,
10-shot collateral or something? Like
I don't know. But I had like 5 rifle bullets and I didn't know which one it was. And at this point, for some reason, more zombies or whatever were coming in. It was just it was a shit show. And I thought I didn't have enough bullets, but miraculously, I
the
did get
game
it.
see, the game does a lot of cool shit in the background to like try and make sure you can get through something. But also what this game does really well, I think this game uh putting gunpowder in this game and then giving you less ammo makes moments like that where it's like I don't have enough fucking ammo for this situation. I have no the fucking clue how I got through that. But like it's because like you crafting the ammo as you need it instead of it giving you the ammo.
Yeah.
Like I think it's a very smart change to like keep that tension there.
Yeah, definitely. And that was the moment too where I think most of the game I wasn't worried about ammo at all. But after that section, I was like, I'm scraping. Like I don't have much at all.
What
Uh,
I remember the first time I did that room is I killed the wrench guy, right? I'm like, okay, cool. And then I go and unlock the thing, but then the other guys come in, and then they
yeah.
carry fucking dynamite, and
Yeah,
they
they
threw the
do.
fucking dynamite, and
Yeah.
it blew up the cages. So then I got 3 regenerators, like 2 dynamite guys, and a whole shit fuck ton of guys. And I'm like, there's nothing I can do here.
You
Like,
just run. You just
I'm
run.
just like, I'm done. Like,
Because
yeah,
that's what I did. After I opened it, there was still regenerators and
that was a
zombies and
I
stuff.
fucked
And
up moment.
I threw a flashbang and just got the fuck out of there.
Yep, yep.
It's one of those things too where there's definitely like a zone where they can't follow you.
There
But it's
is
not
actually.
but it's not like something that's really defined. So you get to the room with Ashley and I'm still freaking out. I'm like, that was just a door I
On
pushed
your
open.
first playthrough, you just it's not like a safe room in Resident Evil 2 where you know you're good there.
There are no safe rooms. I mean there are. It's wherever the merchant is, but still it's like it's not like an RE2, yeah, where you
There's
enter
a
a
lore
room and
reason for that, by the way.
with
The
the merchant.
merchant, yeah,
No.
his lamp lights that he uses are the same lamps that Ashley uses to fend off the
Mm,
knights. Whatever
that
that's
makes
made out
sense.
of. Yeah.
The purple. That'd be an RE. I almost said 7, but that exists.
Well,
That's
the theory right now is that black goo, by the way, is related to the mold from 7 and 8
makes sense.
because that wasn't in the original.
Which I think is smart since they're doing these remakes to connect 7 and 8
Yeah,
more
I think so
because
too. Yeah.
even right there, they're
Nice.
so
It's just the opportunity, like just go
one
why
through
not take it?
6. 1 through 6 are so detached from 7 and 8.
And that's like the biggest problem with like going from OG2 to OG4 is it's like, yeah, you're still playing Leon, but like it in name only, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where like in this one, it feels like a actual like it's a progression of character and like all the little touches, like his knife being Marvin's knife from
Yeah. Yeah.
RE2, and like him saying some of the lines that were said in RE2 and just how it made it his goal. Like he directly states it at the beginning and the end, like this time it has to be different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it just, he was very much affected and you feel that in this game.
No, definitely. And it makes me want to go back and play Resident Evil 2 also, which that's just a great game. You know, like it's a fantastic one, but no,
Yeah.
I agree with all those little references and
How
things
do you
like
feel
that.
about Ashley in Remake? Because I mean, I'll let you take it.
I've never hated Ashley
I haven't
ever.
either. I like
I
joking about it, but like it was never
Yeah,
that bad.
I guess I get it. Like people who get annoyed by her, and she's kind of annoying because you always kind of have to. I mean, this game is just an escort mission, you know,
Yeah.
for a good majority of it. Well, maybe not majority, but it's like a 40-60 split where 40% of the time you're escorting her, and In the remake though, I feel like it's a lot less of a chore than it was in.
Well, for starters, you don't have to manage your health, so like that right away is like just a nice change.
It's
one less
true.
thing you got to go through.
Unless you're at the catapult section where she just keeps getting fucking hit.
Yeah, I see. I don't know how I feel about the switch between wait and follow and close and far. You know what I mean? And it has like an entirely different like gameplay. It's like it's just like a different mechanic. Whereas
I never even used it.
Well, it's really only useful if like depending on the combat situation, whether you want her to be close to you or far to you. Mm-hmm. I didn't find it useful the way the game told me to find it useful. It was like, oh, if you're running through enemies, keep her close to you. I'm like, no, that just doesn't work. Like, it's more about like the type of enemies and where they are, where I'll sometimes hit it to like get her the fuck out of there or something. But
because in OG RE4, I would say, all right, wait here because I know this room is full of enemies, and then go kill the enemies. I was like, okay, now follow me. Yeah, which I think makes sense. That's kind of like if this was real life at all, you would tell the person, be like, do not be in the middle of the room where there's fucking bullets and swords and just grenades. Sometimes a rocket launcher. Like, don't do that.
But it also like in a I don't, realistic's not the right word, but it's the only one I can think of it. In a more realistic setting, like Leon would realistically want to like keep her as close as possible, right? Yeah. And like just having her stay out of sight. Actually, I do miss putting her. I take that back. Every fucking locker I find, I shove her in it.
What? I just fucking like get in there. Don't say a fucking word.
I'm like, I don't know what's coming, but there's a fucking locker here, bitch. You're getting in that fucking locker.
Sometimes even when all the enemies are done, I'm like, you know what? Go back in the locker. Yeah. Just in case. It's just really, I just don't want to listen to her, deal with her for a while, but I'm just like, stay in there.
I will say this. I feel like for whatever reason, she like had a like maybe this is something that patched out because this feels like a mistake where she would do the heavy breathing thing like a lot, and I don't know. I don't know if that's.
No, I do remember that. Yeah, I was in the castle a lot where she's like,
like all the time. I don't know
why. I don't know why I did that. It's like, there you go.
That feels like just
podcast listeners. Yeah, it does feel like a mistake.
But I like the moments with Ashley a lot more in this. And well, there's actually moments with Ashley in this one, so that's why I like them more.
Yeah, she was definitely the damsel in distress for the first game, or I get the first game.
She still kind of is. They just gave her more character in this game.
Yeah, they also really drive home a point, especially near the end, where she's like, we're a team. This is a teamwork thing. I'm helping you, and you get those moments too, especially with that whole. You said it's in the original, but they greatly expanded on it in this game, where you play as her and you save Leon. Like, no doubt about it. She goes up there. Yeah, so it's like you really do feel like she's not useless. That being said,
did a really good job too.
I do miss putting her in a dumpster because that was my favorite part.
I know.
And they took that out. Speaking of voice actors and actresses, though, did you hear about this whole Ada Wong situation?
I know that she kind of got like harassed and stuff because people really didn't like her.
Yeah, did you have a problem with her voice actress?
She wasn't my favorite, honestly. I think there was something about the voice and like I don't know if it was the way it was recorded or whatever. It just felt off to me, and I couldn't really put into words why. I don't know if it's just a voice thing. Did you have any issue with it?
No, I didn't. Yeah.
Like it wasn't a big issue, right? Definitely not worth like. Whatever harassment she was getting.
I mean, that's just degenerate shit. If you're the type of person that harasses literally anyone online or in person, you're just a fucking life degenerate. It's like, sorry.
Like, well, it's just pathetic. There's just
it's pathetic. It's like, what are you doing?
So like she was like a little off to me, but here's the thing: it's not the same voice actress as Resident Evil 2 Ada, and I think that kind of just bothered me.
That's probably what it is, honestly. It's why most people had a problem with it.
It's the same Leon, the guy who voices Leon. It's the same voice actor for him. Another way it feels more connected. And like I said, Ashley did a really good job. When she would switch between being possessed and not possessed, like she did a good job doing that.
I know. She's my second favorite character. Second to Leon. Like, which I think in a game like this, you should have that. But yeah, maybe it's just because I play I play a lot of bad games with really bad voice acting. So when
Yeah.
voice acting is just okay, I'm like,
yeah, it's fine.
I don't know, maybe I think it's this thing of like, these fucking the
It's definitely not
millennials.
worth the controversy. Like, because even if
No,
it's like even for me, where it's like, yeah, it's a little off, but like it didn't take away from anything,
dude,
right? Like it's just a whatever thing.
you can just tell these fucking kids, and they're mostly adults too. I want to get that straight.
Yeah.
There are basement dwelling men for the most part, but you can tell they didn't play PlayStation 2. They didn't play GameCube. They
yeah.
weren't there. We were fucking there. And if you think
We've heard some
voice
things.
actress for Ada Wong was bad in RE4 Remake, I don't know. Don't play any game before 2013. Because really, The Last of Us was the thing that set the bar, and then it was like, okay, I guess we got to do good voice acting now, which isn't true. There are games before it that
Also,
had good voice acting.
Resident
But
Evil itself has not had. It's not the franchise known for its good voice acting.
I was about to fucking say, go play the original Resident Evil, and then come back to me. you know,
It's still joked about to this day.
I love too that it's been like retconned or history's been rewritten. Like, oh no, it's meant to be campy. It's meant to
Yeah.
be voice
Oh
acted like
yeah.
that. Like, no,
Always.
no, they were just bad. you know,
So
not good.
so like the story's all well and good, but like for
Hmm.
me, right, like the gameplay is where it shines. So like
Oh
how did you
yeah,
feel about the combat in this game? Because like they've made some things that are like it's pretty different to the original.
they did, and so I guess starting with the original, this kind of a review of the original and of remake, which I think
We're kind of
they
just hitting
inherently
all
go
like
together.
a lot of different stuff surrounding some Resident Evil, but
That's
remakes at
okay.
the center.
Um, I like the combat in the original RE4 because it was kind of like that fluidity of tank controls, but also modernization, and they gave you a lot more options. And there was kind of like a rhythm you got with
There
aiming
was
because you can't
there
move
was,
when you aim.
there was a rhythm to it, and once you got it down, it was.
It was great and it was snappy, like getting
Mhm.
into your scope and then like using the knife a lot and stuff like that. In this one, it felt like it also hit that nice balance of it didn't feel like Resident Evil 3, which at some moments felt like Gears of War,
Yeah, it was
Where
very almost action movie esque. I agree.
yeah, which is fine. Like that's what that game
I like
is.
that
Like
game. Yeah.
yeah, me too. But for this game where it is definitely more of a I mean Leon's a secret agent, so it's like
Mhm.
he's going to
Dude,
have some moves
listen,
and
the first cutscene he roundhouse kicks a dude and snaps his neck. So like you just gotta accept
yeah.
what's gonna happen at that point.
Yeah, exactly. And like, every time I got to suplex someone, I would scream suplex. I'm like, I
Yeah.
love it. But I like his arsenal. I like upgrading the weapons. I love the whole like RPG element behind all that stuff. And for the
Mhm.
combat itself, like, I mean, I guess the best word is it's good. It's good. It is
Yeah.
what it is. It's nothing to be like, oh my god, it's not Final Fantasy 16, which is
No,
a
it's not.
controversy in itself, and it's not Call of Duty, but it's also not Devil May Cry 2.
Yes. Oh my god. I
or
didn't
or the
even
original Resident Evil 4.
I didn't register you say Devil May Cry 2. I just registered Devil May Cry. I'm like, yeah,
I
it's not
only,
Devil May Cry,
I
but
only said that because I originally played you had me play the original Devil May Cry, and I was like, what is this?
you're so confident. You're like, I'll be back
I
and I'll
was.
beat Devil
I
May
was.
Cry.
Couldn't beat the first boss.
It's all right.
not that I like sat there for hours and tried. It was one of those things like I got the game over and I was like, no. It's like I had too many other things to play.
I don't don't worry, you're not alone in that feeling. I guarantee you.
I do
Uh
want to, if talking about combat, sorry to cut you off. I'll let you go in
no,
a
you're
second.
good.
But this isn't really like a technical aspect of the combat, but I have a little secret to tell you.
Sure.
I told Susan this, and now I guess I'm telling everyone that listens to this podcast. But I've probably beaten Resident Evil 4 maybe 4 times,
Okay.
ironically.
Okay. I
And then I've
mean
beaten
that's
Remake once,
a
right?
very respectable number, so
Yeah, it's been I again bought on PS3, PS4, Switch, Xbox. I fucking VR. I own this
oh
game.
dude, it's like surprisingly fun in VR.
Yeah, it's kind of it's good wherever it gets supported, honestly. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. So I played this game a lot, and every single time I played this game, what's that? What's that little Napoleon guy's name? Salazar?
Yeah,
Is
something
that
like that.
Salazar?
No, I thought Salazar
Or is
was the
that
main
Sadler?
guy.
No, it's Salazar. I have it pulled up right here.
You can't blame me for getting them mixed up. It's like Saruman and Sauron.
Sauron,
like,
yeah. Get some differential names. Anywho, every single time in every Resident Evil 4 game, his boss battle, I love it because, and I guess that's something too, where when we're talking about gameplay, the boss battles are really good. But let me just
boss battles in Remake, in my opinion, are like some of the best we've had in a while. Like better
except
than
Salazar's, because every single time, and it's the funniest shit because he's just this little dude. And in Remake, he's a lot less, but in the original, he's a little piece of shit.
Yeah,
and he's annoying, and I hate him. But he has this big moment where he's like transforming, and he's getting like this fucking like, what do you want to call them, little crustacean things coming out and stuff, and he's like, I'll fucking kill you. And Roger, 100% of the time, I've never actually fought this boss battle because every time I have an RPG. And he is a boss where if you shoot him in his stupid little fucking face, he dies immediately. And it is my favorite tradition now. And I was so glad in Remake that it was still an insta-kill.
Yeah, well, just them having the RPG as a game mechanic in Remake, like
it is. So and I actually used RPG twice. The first time definitely didn't need to use it. It was with the Chainsaw Sisters. That's kind of a waste.
You know what? No, it's not kind of a waste. That fucking area is awful.
By the way, that moment too with the Chainsaw Sisters where he does that pointless kickflip, really cool.
Yeah,
didn't need to do that. He could have just stepped back.
That was the most extra shit I've ever seen in my life. But you know what? It's Leon. We're gonna really let it slide.
Really defines Leon as a character. He's like, you know what? Flip. Why not? No, but I RPG Salazar every single time. It's really funny. And one day I'll actually do the boss battle, but not today. But the boss battles are really good. The whole Krauser fight was so good. Both of them. The knife fight and the whole like really good. Really intense. That second part where you're fighting him and he has like the huge claw arm and stuff like that. It kind of reminded me of the Doctor in Resident Evil 2 where he had the big arm.
A little bit, yeah. A little bit.
It's just he was more intimidating. Krauser was more intimidating though. He was like, "Oh, this guy's gonna fucking murder me."
For me, the bosses in this game are some of the best in that franchise.
Oh yeah, and I like too where it was kind of a mix of fighting the big fish in the lake felt a lot like the original fight. Yeah, you know, in the original Resident Evil 4, but fighting it's too many fucking Krauser, too many names. In Remake was nothing like the original.
Oh no,
because in the original it's just like this little bitchy knife fight, and then he says
it's like a cut scene in the first part, right? Yeah.
And
I don't even remember.
And then he's like, "Well, next time, Spider-Man," or whatever. He just goes away.
I'll be back, Leon S. Kennedy.
I don't think you kill him in the original. I think he just disappears and you don't see him ever again in the franchise.
I can't remember if I thought he died, but like he killed himself or some bullshit.
Is that what it is? Yeah. I don't know, but I really like that.
I just remember in the original, the best way to do it is just to knife his fucking legs over and over.
Yeah. Yep. But I like everything leading up to it. I like the backstory that they're giving. I like that it's a personal moment for Leon and we're learning more about him in between 2 and 4 and like who he is. And then kind of like the honor too, where, you know, he kills him and then he like takes his knife and stuff. And it's like carrying on his legacy and shit. It's just, there's a lot. It's
there's a lot of things Leon does where he kind of carries on the legacy of the people like Marvin, like not
Luis.
Kraken. Yes, Luis.
Kraken.
I forgot his name already. You got me fucked up with his name.
Krauser.
And Louis, he even quotes Luis at the very end of the game when he asks Ashley if she likes thrill rides. There's like a couple of sections where like, he's very much like going to change things and remember those who have like passed. And like, it just makes Leon have like a really nice character arc in this game.
Yeah,
that he didn't have in the original. And
it gave more purpose to this game too, other than save Ashley. You know, it's like
in a lot of ways.
We're kind of on a journey here.
He didn't feel like he made a difference in the first game. He wants to make one here.
Yeah. So, but you like the boss battles
because from his campaign, like everybody fucking died. So like I get it.
Dude, everyone dies in 2. Yeah, everyone except like 3 people.
I love the boss fights. There is a lot of because I did it on professional, so I had to learn all the tricks. And there's a lot of tricks that like can really like change how you go about these boss fights. For example, and this isn't a trick, this is just straight up fucking Easter egg, like easy mode tactic for the guy you RPG, the castle guy.
Oh, Salazar.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but if you get a golden egg,
and you throw it at him.
Yeah, it'll do like 70% of his health. So like you chuck a golden egg at him, shoot him twice with like a magnum or shotgun, and then stab him. He's dead.
Perfect, love it. So he's just a bitch boss regardless.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, unless you miss the fucking egg throw, and you're like, well,
that's got to be the most upsetting thing in the world.
It is.
You throw the egg, and then you're just like,
especially if you're going for an S+ run, so you can only save 15 times. It's very frustrating. I wouldn't know from personal experience.
There's a reload. Yeah. I also like, speaking of the bosses, it reminds me of the troll boss near the beginning, and I like the misdirection with the dog because the dog is dead, and they released that demo, which I think the demo is great because it was just the village demo, and it ends right where he does the iconic line, where's everyone going, bingo, and I love that they kept it in. I think that demo alone was a really good indicator of how they were doing this remake.
It was what their attitude was towards this remake. I agree.
They're honoring the old, but also they're modernizing it and they're making it their own too, but I like that you do get the dog, and the dog is alive. It was just a different dog. And
Dude, the dog has a fucking entrance too in that fight. He fucking howling. There's like lightning going on behind him.
It's badass.
He had a better intro than like any character in the game. It was awesome.
I just remember Jake being like, I think he was joking and stuff. It's like, but they killed the dog.
Well, people actually thought they killed the dog because I think it was IGN showed off like the gameplay demo, and the dog was dead. And
the dog's dead at the beginning.
Dog's dead. Yeah. And then we all
different dog though.
I'm like, oh no, he's back. He's alive. No, yeah. The bosses are like super fucking good. They're super well designed. Like they feel like a clusterfuck at first, and then like as I went back and played them on hard difficulties and like how to kind of get good at them, there are certain things where like there's certain attacks you can dodge under, and the game won't tell you, hey, hit the dodge button, but you can, and it will miss you. Or if you run a certain way, specifically in the last fight, there's a lot of attacks you can dodge by doing that tactic, and the the parry system adds so fucking much to this game. It like honestly, the parry system makes this game like just like 50% better. Like I'm not joking.
I totally forgot. Yeah, that's a game changer. I fucking blocked everything.
Oh my god!
Every boss battle, and what I really like about it, and maybe it changed on professional stuff, but what I like on normal, you just fucking spam it.
Yeah,
and it's not like a perfect parry or anything. You just like if you hit the button when they hit it, it'll parry.
So professional, you can only parry if it's a perfect parry. So it's like you can still parry pretty much everything, but like you have to time it or you won't do it.
Because this, and like I said, I played on normal, so not hard at all. But
no, dude, normal is pretty challenging for your first playthrough. Honestly, like they do a lot of shit to throw you off, and like hardcore. Honestly, there's like. The main difference between hardcore and professional is just things like run like a little bit faster, I think, in professional.
Yeah.
Like I think damage wise it's the same, but like they're a lot more aggressive and run faster in professional.
Yeah. That last boss battle though, I used all my healing items and I had like not a lot left when I beat the boss, but that made it better. That like it took everything.
You want to get by through the scrap of your teeth. Yeah.
Yeah. Makes it feel like a really challenging and rewarding boss battle, which it was. But
the parry system, like, and you can even like, I don't know if you knew this, but when I mean parry anything, like even the things we were just talking about with the parasites in their body, you can actually parry them and you'll cut off their arm if you do that.
Yeah.
Whatever they attack you with.
I did that a couple times and it was like, it's just a lot of cool little things that you wouldn't even know were there if you didn't try it,
And the knife just in this game has like so much fucking utility. Like
that's why you upgrade it, man.
Oh, dude, the first knife.
Gotta upgrade it right
durability, maxing that out.
Yep.
Like the knife is like the knife's just the best weapon in this game, or the best knife out of any of the Resident Evil games that I can. You know what I mean? Like there's such like a if you have to sort of thing in the other games, and this one it's like there's so many options for you to use them. You can even sneak kill shit with them. Like,
this is like the litmus test for if you're a real Resident Evil fan. You go up to them and be like, okay, what's the best weapon in any Resident Evil game? And if they're just like, I don't know, a pistol or something, RPG, machine gun, no, you don't even fucking know, do you?
Yeah, dude, you don't know.
Yeah, you don't even know. It's the knife. It's the knife, and then for some reason you sell the Magnum, but you keep the crossbow because that's what I did. Can't tell you why.
I was gonna say, did you like the crossbow? Because I tried to use it, and I was like, I just don't like this thing.
I liked making explosive bolts. That was fun.
Like it was kind of cool, but like
much.
also like it just felt better to shoot them in the face with the shotgun. Like,
oh, it felt so better. I will say with the crossbow, in the crossbow's defense, there were a couple moments where I was running out of ammo, but it was
and you
really
know what?
nice that you could pick up the bolts.
I will say that's what I think the crossbow is like. That's its purpose, honestly, is like if you're low on ammo, use the crossbow. You know what I mean? And get by until you get some more ammo.
You got a couple of goons, little zombie goons heading your way, and they're like, I'm gonna get you. You're like, I'm not gonna waste 15 bullets on you. I'm gonna crossbow you. Shoot the kneecaps, kick them, knife them. That's how you do it. That's classic Resident Evil. Which, talking about the combat some more, it was this way of, and it makes sense, it's going to play more like the remakes than the original, but whenever I play the original RE4, very methodical of, all right, aim, shoot the kneecap, kick them, knife, rinse and repeat. You can't really do that in this game.
You can't get away with that in this game, and I do like that.
It's kind of funny too, because when I was playing it, Susan would watch me sometimes, and she would be like, "Why do you keep shooting at their legs?" And I just want to be like, "You don't get it."
Yeah,
this worked in 2004, 19 years ago.
I would do that. I would do that at the legs or shoot them in the head to go for the roundhouse kick, and sometimes they would just fucking take it and like, no,
yeah. You shoot them in the face, and like, I don't care. And you're like, oh, I don't know what to do. That shotgun though, man. Oh, shotgun's good.
The shotgun
it's really good.
The riot gun was my favorite. I love it so much.
Yeah. Fully upgrade that shit. So good. So
the way it works the original, like the original is a lot more like you can plan exactly how it's gonna work. In this game, it throws some curveballs at you.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, the game looks good.
How'd you feel about the side quests?
I didn't do them.
Oh, really? Did you do any of the boss ones?
No, because I still plan on going back and playing through.
Oh yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
And I do think whenever there's a lull, whenever that may be, I do want 100% this game sometime. I don't know if I'll ever do that because I feel like to 100% it, you have to like sit there and really learn the game and like do those playthroughs like pretty close together. And I just have too far apart of space to actually do that. But
and you
I do
also
want to do the boss battles.
You have to. Here's the thing: it's like the more you do, the easier it gets with how the rewards work and the accessories.
Yeah,
but you really
can get like infinite ammo and shit, right? And infinite RPGs and stuff.
Well, so yes, no. So it kind of depends what you're going for. You can get an infinite rocket launcher on like a New Game Plus.
Yeah,
but you can't get an S rank plus rank on New Game
Plus.
Oh,
really?
Yeah, you can get the infinite ammo if you get professional S plus rank. That's the reward for that. So it's like you could maybe go for that and then use that to get other achievements, or you get like an S rank on maybe normal or hardcore mode and get something that decreases melee damage for your S plus rank. So it's like there's options depending on how you want to do it that can make it easier, but it's you're gonna suffer one way or the other. I'll put it that way.
You suffer one way or another. Yeah. I think that's about all I have to say about it, though. Music was good, I guess. I don't know.
Dude, actually, music was really good, and specifically that boss fight that we keep going back to, that I can't remember the name of, even though we said it like 10 times.
Talking about Krauser?
No, I'm not talking
Salazar?
about Krauser. Yeah.
Salazar. Oh, the boss music I've never heard in my life? Yeah.
Yeah,
sure, it was great.
His boss music is actually one of the better ones. It's really good.
Good. Honestly, the only reason I did it this time because I'd already used an RPG once since 80,000 each time. But
that's why it's there. It's for the bosses you don't want to fuck with. That's why it's a mechanic. Like
it's more of a meme. I was just laughing at myself. I'm like, I always do this.
I think in professional they double the price and you can only get it once.
Wow.
But it's still like something you can do.
I would still use it on him. I don't care if there's harder bosses. You could have a fucking Titan, which they kind of do. They have big trolls, but you could have this like, I don't know, Superman shows up, but the RPG kills him. I'd be like, I don't care. I'm using on Salazar.
No, this game, like, it really, like, to me, just like it made it made the characters better. It made the story like just, I don't know if better is the right word, but like better,
deeper. Made it deeper,
yeah,
more involved.
Yeah,
There's more going, moving parts, more character growth and development.
I think that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I did the gameplay updates. Like, there's just every single one of them's positive. The knife is so fucking good. The parry system, it's like, I need this in every game now. You can't give this to me. Like, it has to be, and then take it away. It has to be in everything now.
Yeah.
There's so many options. There's a lot of like behind the stuff going on, to where like the way enemies react and move and do stuff. It just makes it really fun to play. And the bosses are like, I'm not joking. Like, I could feel myself getting better at the bosses and like understanding how they work and like being more efficient at doing them. And it blows my way, because when you first play them, it doesn't even feel that way. In fact, it feels like you kind of just slogged through and you're like, man, that was really messy. Man, that was really rough. I'm not really sure how I could have.
It feels like you're surviving.
It feels like you're surviving. And then as you do it more and more, you just like, there's actually ways to like be very efficient with the bosses that are just kind of like unique to Resident Evil in general. You know what I mean? Like, like, because I even think back to Resident Evil 1's bosses and how those work and how you can get better at doing them. And like, they just have a way about them that I can't quite put in the words that other games bosses don't have.
Yeah.
And maybe it is just being in this genre. I don't know, but
definitely, because Resident Evil, and now we're kind of getting away from plot, but that's okay. But thinking about Resident Evil, it is survival horror, but what it does differently than other survival horrors, I think, not to say this doesn't exist, because like we're talking about Dead Space, and Dead Space has boss battles and things like that.
Yeah, I haven't played Dead Space, so like I can't even speak to that.
But looking at a lot of other survival horror games, like Outlast is coming out, or like Silent Hill 2 and things like that, is where
I hope that's good.
Those games are all, I hope that remake's good too. We'll see. All these other survival horror games are where you are powerless regardless of what playthrough it is. It's like the whole point is to be like, here's this huge scary thing, and half the time you don't even kill it, you just get away from it. But in Resident Evil, it's like, no, I have to beat you. Like, I have to kill you, and inherently the more times you do that, the better you're going to get. And I also think it is that thing of like, in these games, the character that it gives you, they intentionally make the character like, your special forces agent.
They give him
in
some
the first
fighting
one
power
and stuff. Yeah, like these are supposed to be people who, on the one hand, it's believable that they would struggle and they'd be like, what the fuck is happening? And it'd be really sloppy. But on the other hand, through other playthroughs, it's like, okay, you're on STARS, you're in the special task force. It makes sense that you're fucking decimating this thing,
Yeah.
So it's like, it has that nice balance of the way that the story is presented, and then the way that it has the bosses that you can defeat.
I think when it comes to Resident Evil and Resident Evil 4, the experience in terms of your experience as a player, as a gamer, is like, you can, it's very tangible. It's very felt. Also, and this is how I felt about the original, and it pretty much carries over to this one. Like, I think Resident Evil 4 just has like some of the best progression in any game, like in terms of upgrading and getting better stuff. And
the whole meta game with the treasures and like combining the treasures and selling them for more, and then upgrading your weapons.
Like, I'm always so excited to get more stuff and get better gear and get better upgrades, and then
upgrade your
you getting better at the game on top of that. I think it just has some of the best progression out of any game I've played. So
no, definitely. It nails pacing, it nails progression, it nails graphics. I mean, the game's beautiful. We didn't really.
You can kind of flick yourself on the pacing with side quests, so I don't blame you for not doing that. But if you,
it was a thing where I did it if I knew about it or something. Like if they're the medallions and I saw them, sure, I did it. But like, I remember there was one I was like, kill these rats, and I was like, I've already passed this place, I'm not going back. I was like, I'm not doing
what
that.
I do now is I kill them as I'm going through it the first time. I specifically
of course,
as I'm going. There's another thing where it's like, I can incorporate that into strategy. You know what I mean? Like, oh, here's some free Spinos I can get to trade for stuff.
Yeah. And I will say after I saw that request, I did kill every single rat in the game.
But that's what I'm saying, where it's like repeated playthroughs, they're almost like a different experience because it's all about optimization at that point.
Yeah. Getting better at the game.
And they allow that. They allow for that.
That's one of the great things about Resident Evil is like the point is to like, okay, you know this game now, break the game.
Yeah. Yeah. They encourage that. They're like, okay.
But they have a speedrun trophy or achievement every single game. They're like, let's see how good you are. You know, shave 4 hours off of your runtime. It's like, oh, okay, but you can do it.
But they totally allow you to sequence break it, dude, in so many different ways. So
yeah. So, all right. Well, unless you have anything else to add about the game, my last question was going to be, what do you want to see remade next out of this franchise?
Because it gets Code Veronica. Yeah, and I kind of explained in the beginning.
Yeah, I think Code Veronica is the natural way, which it's interesting, but also makes sense that they skipped it because Code Veronica came out after 3. It was that interlude on the Dreamcast.
If I'm going to be honest with you, I think they're just going to go straight to 5 and incorporate Code Veronica into that.
So too. Because as great, and it's really funny actually. Do you know what the highest selling Resident Evil is?
No, I don't. Is it 6 or 5?
It's 6. Yeah. And the second highest selling one is 5. And then I think it's 7.
I knew those two were big. I actually thought 7 wasn't super great, even though it was like a return to form.
It was kind of a return to form. Well, now you got me questioning myself. So
maybe it is now because people talk so positively on it. You know what I mean? Like word of mouth kind of brought it back.
Yeah. All right.
But that's
I was completely
people kind of
off
forget
base.
Is like half the time a game's, and this goes for movies too, but a sales is like based off the previous. You know what I mean? Like that makes a big difference. It's like, how did the previous one do?
Roger, I would like to apologize because that's completely wrong.
Okay.
But I think this scale has shifted since I last checked it, which was probably 2016.
Well, I think you're right. 6 did sell, like for a while it was like the most selling one.
Yeah. So this is Statista.com, which is kind of reliable, kind of not. Sure. But generally they get a lot of things right. Resident Evil 6 is actually the 4th highest selling game at 8.6 million units. Resident Evil 5 is 8.7 million units. I wonder if they account for the re-releases and things in that, because I know when it first came out, Resident Evil 6 was the highest selling one. Yeah. The second highest selling one is actually Resident Evil 2 Remake, and according to this, 11.9 million units. And then the highest selling one is Resident Evil 7 at 12.
Really?
Which I knew 7 was big.
I didn't realize 7
brought the franchise back. You know,
I mean, like, it makes sense. That's basically why I got into it as much as I did. You know what I mean? Yeah. I went back and played all of them thanks to 7, but
so makes sense. And you know what's funny too? The best selling Resident Evil, not even the worst selling Call of Duty. Puts it into perspective.
No, I don't want to talk about that. I'm not ready for that discussion.
When you really sit there and think about, like, all right, let's just look at like 80 million 360s, 82 million PS3s, 100 plus million PS4s, 50 something million Xbox Ones.
I wonder what their budget
and
compared to Call of Duty.
Resident Evil 7 sold 11 million units across PC, PS4, Xbox One, so like no one's played it. The vast majority of people have played fucking Fortnite, Call of Duty, but never touched Resident Evil. It's good. It's good. This is good stuff.
That's hard to hear. I'm not gonna lie, but you know,
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
A lot of people buy consoles for Minecraft, Fortnite, Call of Duty, and GTA 5.
Dude, a lot of people buy computers for those exact same things.
It's true. I mean, good games on their own, but anyways, yeah, I agree with Code Veronica. Interesting sales stuff. Good game. You recommend it? You recommend it, right?
Mm-hmm. Code Veronica or Resident Evil 4 Remake? I mean,
both, I guess. But
I don't really recommend Code Veronica. That
really
is an acquired taste. It's just
that's fair. No, you're right. You're right. You gotta.
But this game, I could easily recommend. And if you haven't played the original, and maybe like the original has been like tough to get into because controls or whatever, like this is by far and away just the best option to get into it. It's just a fun game. It's just good. That's
the thing, is like it's just fun. It's well acted. It's well made. And like virtually no glitches or anything. There were performance issues at all.
No performance issues. Only glitches. They patched a couple of them, but most of the glitches are like fun glitches.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even count this as glitches.
Yeah.
If they're not game breaking or anything, I'm like, I don't care if someone clips and spins. Sometimes this is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Especially in a horror game, I'm like, I need this. I really need this right now.
You really do.
I'm stressed. Yeah, but I wholeheartedly recommend this game, and also the other remakes too. If you haven't played Resident Evil, play all the remakes.
Like Resident Evil 3 has some controversy, and even we like more useful than me, but even me, it has some hang-ups about Resident Evil 3. They're all worth a playthrough. Maybe wait for a Resident Evil 3 sale, but they're all worth a playthrough.
Well, I was going to say, as the day we're recording this, and this will be uploaded while it's still going on, but if you go onto Steam, Resident Evil 3 is $10, and Resident Evil 2 is also $10.
Oh my god, that's so fucking.
And then Resident Evil 7 is $8. So
altogether $28. That's the most worthwhile purchase I've ever heard of in my life.
$28 for 3 of the best horror games that you can experience. So yeah, I highly recommend all of them. But yeah, I think that'll put a pin in it. I'll probably go back and play this game sometime. But that's all I really gotta say about this. Unless you have any other closing comments, ideas, thoughts, things like that. Get back
to Final Fantasy 16. So
yeah, me too. That'll probably be the next one. I don't know when I'm going to play Zelda again. We'll see. Maybe we'll just do the fucking spoiler cast without me beating it.
No, just go through the main story. Like you're done with it. You're burnt out. Just get through the main story.
It's not how my brain works.
Always go back.
I don't even have the towers unlocked yet. I don't have all the towers unlocked.
That's fine. Like you chose to do this. Just go through the main story.
Mentally, I'm more concerned right now about fucking the Terrytown daughter and her side quest.
Dude, and that was a cute side quest.
It was actually a really good side quest. I already beat it too, but no, we're not going to get into this. Okay, yeah, we're going to end it. Thank you so much for listening and or watching. If you're listening and want to see our beautiful faces, go to youtube.com/thatoneandrew or check out youtube.com/slightlyemp. They are posted on both of those now because I was like, why am I not posting it to the one I have hundreds of more subscribers to? So check out both of those. See those. We're consistently getting like 70 views per each of them too, which is really cool. Keep up the support. If you're watching on YouTube, like, comment, even one like. You're like, what's that gonna do? YouTube's weird. The algorithm, even with a couple of likes, it'll start recommending us to a lot more people's pages. So like it all helps out. If you're listening on podcast services, which would be Spotify, Apple, iTunes, or Google Podcasts, please rate. We have 2 5-star reviews on Spotify, which is great. Again, helps with the algorithm. It doesn't make sense to really anyone. I don't even think the companies that run these sites, it makes sense. But 3 or 4 5 stars suddenly starts putting us on recommendations for other people and gets the name out there and stuff like that. If you want to monetarily support us, patreon.com/slightlyemp. That's SLIGHTYEMP. Toss a couple bucks our way. One day. Facebook.com/slightlyemp, where you can see links to all of those, plus random posts and updates when new shows are posted and go live. Roger, thank you so much for joining me. I like these one-on-one conversations. It flows a lot better. I've gotten some constructive feedback where we tend to talk over each other on the podcast.
Yeah. To be fair, that's kind of just how we talk in real life too. But
yeah, it's just kind of how it is.
But you are right. Yeah, we try.
It's much more manageable with 2 people. You can definitely have more of a conversation, and then when you get that third person in there, it's harder. And then when you get 4 people in there, oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god. It was actually kind of okay the last time because the 4th person didn't really talk much, but I think that will change the farther on they adapt.
Yeah.
But it'll be fine. We'll figure it all out. But yes, thank you, my friend. I always do appreciate these one-on-ones. And thank you, audience, again. I'm rambling at this point. So we'll see you on the regular show next. Goodbye.